Hi, I'm Charles Howell, and this is Titleist Tips from the Tour. All right, everybody, we've got a shot here, 115 yards, but the pin's on the back of the green. Now we have a little bit of wind here, right to left, maybe a little bit of help in there. Now, I hit my 52-degree club, 115 yards on a good full one. Now, I could do that and try to land it back there and keep the ball back there. Or another option would be to take a 47-degree pitching wedge. Now, my normal one's about 135. But we're gonna land this in there a little shorter, and we're gonna chase the ball back there. So if you want a shot, a little more margin for error, we can take a wedge and do this. So to do it, I'm gonna move the ball slightly back of center. I'm gonna keep my sternum in front of the ball the whole time and hit a little low one. So now as you see, the ball's come off a little bit lower, but I've taken all the trouble out of play, so I've landed it short and run it back there. There were a couple of choices on this shot, and I chose the low running one. There's a lot of choices in golf. Make sure you choose Titleist.
Hard to believe it's been a year since we saw Justin Rose win gold, silver to Henrik Stenson, and Matt Kuchar taking the bronze on the medal stand in Rio, receiving the first medals awarded in golf since 1904, and what was golf's return after a 112-year absence. On the women's side, Inbee Park defied the odds after an injury-riddled summer. She came back to play through it and win gold. Lydia Ko taking silver, and Shen Feng capturing the bronze. We welcome in Rex Hoggard, who has a new story on GolfChannel.com celebrating 1 year after golf's return to the Olympics. Rex, thanks for joining us. The first thing we all want to know, what has happened to the Olympic golf course?
Well, it's funny, George. We've all heard the stories about the Olympic venue, specifically the Athletes' Village and all these white elephants that got left behind. But once I started calling around and reaching out to people in Rio, it seems like the golf course is the one legacy that was left behind by those Olympic Games. I had a chance to speak with the CEO, Marcio Galvaro, about the golf course and his 10-year plan, which he's going to present to the IGF and the RNA later this month. Essentially, he said the golf course is open. It never closed. I spoke with some people who have gone down there recently. It's actually in better shape from what they told me than it was for the games when those guys were competing for medals. And what this really boils down to is right now, Marcio said they're averaging about 700 rounds a month. Now, that's lower than he would have liked, but he feels like with a lot of education and some local grown green grass kind of organization, he feels like he can bump those numbers up. Right now, he says about 15% of that traffic is tourist, but a lot of it is coming from Rio residents, which before the Olympics, there was really no interest. He talked about he has a Saturday clinic from 10 to noon every Saturday, and essentially it's been sold out since he started it. He said there's a junior program where if a corporation buys a membership to the club, they donate a junior membership. So there are a lot of things going on, and he feels like they can get the golf course moving in the right direction. Obviously, the financial responsibility is first and foremost to keep the golf course open, but he also says there's a social element to this, which was very important to him, keeping that golf course open and maintaining that legacy.
Rex, you touched on how it's kind of spearheaded the growth of golf, at least locally in Rio. How has golf's return to the Olympics helped it grow on a global scale?
Well, we talked about this a year ago. The whole idea of golf going into the games was essentially all of that support that the NOCs, the National Organizing Committees, get from the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, filters down to all the Olympic sports, and you're starting to see that. Now, it's kind of anecdotal. I had a chance to talk with Anthony Scanlon, who is the CEO of the IGF, which runs golf in the Olympics, and he said one of the things he pointed to, before the Olympics, there was 115 member organizations in the IGF. Now that number is 150. It continues to grow. He also pointed to a recent study that they did during the Olympics, which gauged fan engagements, essentially social media posts in and around the games. Golf ranks 7th on that list of all the Olympic sports, and it also pointed out that as far as traffic goes, that outranked every major that's been played since 2013, and you're also seeing it in individual nations. He pointed out that in China, which of course is a booming nation for golf right now, that golf used to be considered a non-Olympic sport. It didn't get any funding from the national organizing committees, but now it's been moved into that Olympic category. I got the same stories from member organizations in Argentina, and Puerto Rico, Paraguay, all the way down the line. They're starting to see that input that they expected and that excitement that the games created.
All right, thank you, Rex. I guess the 2020 games in Tokyo will start to be the true reflection of where that growth goes. Appreciate it. Folks, you and 3 friends could win the trip of a lifetime to play 4 of Orlando's best golf destinations with major winner Bubba Watson. To enter Bubba's Orlando Road Trip, presented by Volvic, head to golfadvisor.com/Bubba's Road Trip and do it right now. Coming up, it's something only 4 players have achieved in 200 chances. Find out the rarest of FedEx Cup playoff feats next. Plus, should players be allowed to take off playoff events and still have a chance to win the Cup and its $10 million bonus? Let the debate begin in an all-new Alternate Shot.